Wednesday I grind, Thursday I grind, Friday I grind, Saturday I grind, Sunday I grind. That's why I'm here today. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. We here, baby. We up in here, baby. Let's get it, baby. Let's give them what they came for, Terry. I don't have my clicker, but I kind of got it memorized. So if we want to get the clicker in my hands, that would be awesome. I forgot that little piece. But first I want to say thank you for this opportunity to speak. I don't take it lightly because I know that Andy and Jane have built something amazing and awesome. And because they have trusted us for this time, I'm going to do my best to give you what you came for. I'm going to give you what you came for because there's two things how you can spend your time. You can invest it. Thank you. You can invest your time or you can spend your time. If you do what's right with it, you get a return on your time. And time is the one thing none of us can get back. So what do you want to do? You want to invest your time or do you want to spend your time? You invest your time by being intentional and understanding why you're here and what your purpose is. So my topic today is the keys of selling. But before we get into that, I just want to talk to you about the young kid 11 years ago. Dallas is always a special place for me because it was the first place I met Andy and saw what was happening with the Alliance. Take you back 11 years ago, my wife and I, Carla, we were two young kids. Today, actually, Carla couldn't be here. She sends her love. Adriel, my baby boy, just turned 15. Yes, yes, yes. The Make It Rain kid is 15. He's driving. He's a young entrepreneur cutting all his friends' hair. So he's got it honest. So she could not be here, but she does send her love. But I think back 11 years. 11 years ago, I was in the back. And I remember Andy, when we got on the phone, he talked to me about coming here. And one of the things he told me that has always inspired me is he said, Marcus, this is going to make a great story one day, Bo, if you don't quit. I remember being 11 years ago, never thinking that I would be able to tell the story quite like this. Because you don't know how your story is going to end. But I know I got an author of my story. I'm trying to teach y'all, not preach to y'all, but y'all stay with me, okay? And the author is weaving the story for all of us. I didn't know there was going to be times where I didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage and I still had to pay a lead bill. You with me? I didn't know that there was going to be times where I would make a six-figure income and still have to file bankruptcy because I didn't understand how to manage my money. Can I talk to you plainly? 11 years ago, I was terrified out of my mind, but I knew that on the inside of me, there was a power that gave me hope that said, if they can do it, I can do it. I didn't know how I was going to take care of the kids. I remember coming home with that baby boy. I looked back in the car seat and at my son and I said, man, if I don't get this done, he doesn't eat. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pressure. But pressure makes diamonds. You follow me? And so we put ourselves in pressure situations, and when you get in that pressure situation, you get to find out what's on the inside of you. And I sat in the back of the room thinking like, man, maybe I could be great too. Anybody got a dream? Wondering like, maybe I could do what he's doing. Or I'm the guy that's supposed to inspire you. I'm telling you, it wasn't always this polished. It wasn't always this nice. But one thing I knew is that if I follow what Andy told me to do, and I worked my butt off, there's nothing that I couldn't do. So let's get into the keys. You ready? All right, so the first thing I always tell people, and Brian Rojas reminded me of this, all the training we're going to do this weekend, all the sales information you're going to get means nothing without activity. So we're going to give you tips, we're going to give you phone scripts, we're going to give you the whole deal. But if you don't pick up the phone and you don't do this, it's all a good idea. Okay? So let's get away from the ideals and let's get to the practical. So when it comes to sales, most people, and it's crazy because we're in a profession that deals with a lot of rejection. And it's crazy because most of us don't like to be rejected. We don't like rejection, but we sign up for sales. It's like going out the world backwards, you with me? But rejection is a good thing. It's just if you don't quit. Because most times when you get rejected, we take it personal, right? And one of the things I tell myself, this is a mentality that I've adopted that I would think really help, is this too shall pass. And I say it when I make $30,000 in a week. And I say it when I don't know how I'm going to pay that lead bill. This too shall pass. Like what Jake was saying, you'll have highs and you'll have lows. But when you get highs, don't jump off the bridge. When you get low, don't jump off the bridge. This too shall pass. So that's the mindset that I always tell myself, because it's not going to always be like this, okay? Now, 80% of what we do is this. So if you took and you're looking at 100%, okay? 100%, 80% of what we do is the phones. 80% of what we do is the phones and getting good at the phones. 15% in this 100% is the in-home presentation. 5% is the actual products. Now, because we don't like getting rejected, guess what most people do? We spend 80% of our time learning the products. Because if I'm in the NAA university, no one can tell me no. If I'm in NAA university, they don't have to close the door in my face and not let me in. You got the audacity to let me come to your house and then don't let me in? But see, when I'm learning how the mortgage protection works, I don't have to get told no. And so what you're really doing is you're just being scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Go ahead and let them tell you no. It makes your character, make a man out you. My daddy used to say. It make a man out you. So don't spend the majority of your time, because here's what happens when you start doing product training. It's life insurance, okay? When they die, it pays. That's right. Do they want a lot or a little bit? How much can you afford? That's right. Right? That's it. That's very simple. I know there's a whole elaborate stuff, and I don't want to cast any doubts on our products, because we have incredible products. But what I'm really telling you to do is put in the work. Put in the work. Make the phone calls, go see the people, and help people out, because that's where you're really going to grow in your personal development, is actually doing it. You don't grow by staying home. You don't grow by not picking up the phone. You don't grow by learning a bunch of the products. You grow by going to people's houses, learning how to connect with them, getting told no, and then getting some coaching. And I love how Robbie taught me how to sell. So this is Robbie's plug, okay? When I first got started 11 years ago, I said, Robbie, I got some appointments. What do I do? He said, all right, I'm going to teach you how to sell. You ready? I said, I'm ready, Robbie. He said, you take the lead in there, you put it on the table. I said, okay, then what? He said, then see if you can get a check. I said, okay, what else? He said, that's about it. We had no ATM. We had no NAA University. We didn't have any of this stuff that you guys have today, okay? And we're still here, right? So what we want you to do really is get into the mindset of taking massive action. But here's the biggest thing that I think I really want to drop in your spirit, is you need to have people to call. That's why I love our lead program, because that makes a difference. So the first company I worked at doing insurance, when I worked there, it was more of, they said they had leads, but it wasn't really leads. They were giving you free stuff. So they would call you under the guise of giving you a child safety kit. That company will name nameless. And they would set the appointment like they were going to give you this free child safety kit for your kids if they get lost, that kind of thing. But they wouldn't tell you that they were going to try to sell you life insurance. And they said these are their leads. Those aren't leads. You're lying to people. You're setting the appointment, and you're going to try to get a $100 a month check from them, but you told you to come and take over their kids, take care of their kids. That's not cool. So when I saw the lead, I was like, wait a minute. There's nothing free? There's like, no. It's mortgage protection, final expense. I was like, and they know it's life insurance. They're like, yeah. And they still sent it in? It's like, yeah. I said, I'm going to kill this thing. So the leads are very big. So my first year, one of the people always ask me, Chris, I think it was earlier, said, what are one of the things you would do different, Marcus, if you talked to the person you 11 years ago? One of the biggest things I would do different is I would invest in more leads sooner. Let me tell you. When I first got started, I was on the Andy Albright program. So for y'all that don't know, I was on food stamps when I first came to the Alliance, okay? And so I understand getting state assistance. I was on the Albright assistance program. I'm not too ashamed to say it. What that means is he was helping me with leads for like a year. And then Robbie talked me off the ledge and really helped me understand the importance of investing in leads. So I go from not buying any leads, and I remember sitting down with Robbie, and we were going through my activity numbers. And when we were going through the numbers, he said, Marcus, you're about as good as these top producers. You're just not buying no leads. You're 50% closed, about 70% sit ratio. You just need to get more people to talk to. I said, okay. So my first big lead investment, now this was crazy. I don't recommend this, but I went from 0 to $790 lead investment. And Robbie said, Marcus, you can do this. I said, okay. So when I got the leads, I was nervous as all get out. Nervous, because that was the largest lead purchase I had ever made. I went from $0 to $790. You with me? Now, today, you want to get with your upline and ask those good questions about your money and your cash flow before you do something like that, right? And so I was nervous. My hands were sweaty. Armpits were sweaty. My booty was clammy. I was nervous. You with me? Because it's $790, right? And you only got $1,000 in the bank. So we got to make this work. You with me? So we go out. I get the leads. I make the phone calls. And it's different when you invest that kind of money, because when someone tells you no, you're like, nah, I'm going to come to the house and just make sure. I'm just going to make sure you really don't want this. I'm going to stop by. It was like, didn't I tell you no? I was just like, making sure. I was making sure you didn't want this. This was $40. Are you sure you're not interested? Let me just at least talk to you about what I do. I feel better about myself if you just let me come in the house. You with me? So I make this lead investment, and I'm like, we got to make this work, right? So we go in. I get the leads. That week, I wrote $7,900 of premium. And those are the ratios. For about every $100 you spend in leads, you'll write about $1,000 of premium. So I still didn't understand the concept because my thinking wasn't right. So the next week, I call Robbie. I'm like, Robbie, I need some more of them A1s, some more of them free leads. He said, no, you don't understand how this works. You just wrote $7,000 off a $700 purchase. You're going to go ahead and get more leads. I was like, got it. And I've been buying leads ever since. The leads are part of the magic for what we do. Now remember, when people fill out that lead, it's only 1 to 2% of Americans. So when you get them on the phone and they say they're not interested, they were interested until you call. Well, so if they're not interested, the only new equation is right. So when they say I'm not interested, don't take it personal. Don't get in your feelings. Don't blame the leads. You got to get better. You with me? All right, so let's talk about how we get better, okay? So I'm going to take you through the whole thing today. The phone script, the in-home. I'm going to give you some nuggets, and then we're going to talk about how to close it down, okay? So the first thing I want you to think about when it comes to the phone script, the only purpose of making that phone call is to book the appointment. Somebody say it with me. The only purpose of picking up the phone is to book the appointment. So you're not trying to figure out if they got money. You're not trying to figure out if they're still working. You're not trying to figure out if they're on disability. Those are all the excuses they tell us, right? Only reason I'm calling you is to figure out when you're going to be home, because I'm coming to the house. That's right. So when you get your leads, your only thing that you're trying to do is figure out when they're going to be home, okay? Because we're coming over. Now, the way you do that is very, very particular. And this is where we get into the phone script. You ready? So when I used to come to trainings like this, when I first started, they had all kind of different phone scripts. And you have Terry does an awesome job, and Bell do an awesome job on the university with their phone script and training how the phone script works. Here's what I don't want you to do, especially when you're brand new. When I started 11 years ago, I think in that first year, I changed my phone script like 12 times. I had a new phone script every month. If I couldn't get 10 appointments when I was first making phone calls, I changed my phone script. Right? Don't necessarily change your phone script, because it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Oh, well, Marcus got the best phone script. He's writing 30,000. No. Terry on his says, how you doing? I don't say how you doing, right? But that works for Terry. Why don't you say how you doing, Marcus? I'm glad you asked. Because if I ask how they're doing, they tell me their dog just died. Now I don't want to come over. That's just me, right? I'm just sensitive like that, I guess. So I don't ask that question, but it works for Terry. So what I'm telling you to do, get something that works for you and get consistent with it, and then make small adjustments. Don't go out and throw out the baby with the bathwater and do something completely different, but stay focused on how you say it and not what you say. So let's talk about this. You ready? So the phone script goes like this. When you call them, it's ring, ring. Hello? Hey, Marcus. Well, I got to use somebody else's name. Hey, Jake. This is Marcus. Now, here's what's very important. When you make a phone call, people are going to decide whether they want to listen to you within the first 10 to 15 seconds. So if you're taking notes, write that down. That's very critical. When you make a phone call, people are going to decide if they're going to listen to you in the first 10 to 15 seconds. So when you call them, your intro is vitally important. It's vitally important. Vitally important. The other thing that's very important when you make phone calls is your cadence. When you're making phone calls to call a lead, you want to be low and slow. When you're recruiting, you're more energetic, you're more enthusiastic. But when you're calling leads, you almost want to do it like you're the half pissed off janitor that you got to clean the toilet. You know what I'm saying? The janitor's not fired up that he has to clean the toilet. It's just something that he does. Like, we're not fired up that we got to make 200, 300 phone calls. It's just something we got to do. You with me? So when you make that phone call, it's not, hey, Jake. Hey, Jake. Yeah. You almost want him to think you're the homeboy. You with me? When you call your homeboy, you're like, what's up, Jake? Right? Do I know you? That's what you want them to kind of react when they first pick up the phone. So it's, hey, Jake. That's very critical because they're going to determine in that first interaction if they want to keep listening to your phone script. If you're getting hung up on a lot before you finish, you're doing it wrong. Okay? So, hey, Jake, this is Marcus. I'm getting back to you about that postcard you sent in requesting some information on the final expense life insurance. My job is simple. I just am the person responsible for getting the information you requested out to you. And I wasn't sure. You still working or you retired? Low and slow. We want to get that in the first 20 to 25 seconds. Now, I like to ask, are you still working and retired if they're older? When I mean by older, 65 or older on the lead. If they're younger, I'll say, what time do you normally get home from work? And then I'll let them tell me, oh, baby, I don't work. I said, must be nice. I can't wait till I get to where you are. Now, if they're retired, you can put them anywhere in your schedule. If they're still working, you probably want to put them more in the evening. So that way you can keep your mortgage protection in your evening appointments because normally they work during the day so you can see them in the evening, okay? Now, a couple key things in the phone script. When you're going through your phone script, you want to talk fast enough so they don't talk, but slow enough so they understand you, okay? Let me say that one more time. Fast enough so they don't talk, but slow enough so that they understand you. Because if you get a senior citizen on the phone, age 65, and you start talking like this, they're going to think you're trying to get over on them, take advantage of them real quick, like, you know what I'm saying? So you can't call them like this and say, hey, Sabrina, what time do you get home from work tomorrow? No, baby, you ain't coming over. Nope. So when they're slower, you got to slow down with them. It's called mirror and matching. So if they answer the phone, they're like, hello? Hey, Tia. This is Marcus. I'm getting back to you about that postcard you sent in requesting information on the final expense insurance. Now, Tia, my job is real simple. I'm just the person responsible for getting the information you requested out to you. You still working, Miss Tia, or you retired? Okay, perfect, Tia. Now, you being retired, any doctor's appointments during the day, or are you going to be around tomorrow morning about 10? I'll be around. Okay, perfect. So my name is Marcus. Write that down so you don't forget about me. Now, Miss Tia, are you still over there at 1234 Main Street? All right, perfect. And we said what time tomorrow? 10. Gotcha. I'll see you tomorrow at 10. You with me? Now, let me give you another example. Especially if you're on the East Coast and you call someone who answers the phone like this. Hello? You can't talk like that to Miss Tia. I'm telling you, you got to be like them. Okay? And if you start talking slow to the East Coaster or someone who's talking fast like this, you got to speed up your cadence. So if they answer the phone, they say, hello? You're like, hey, this is Marcus. I'm getting back to you about that form you sent in, requesting some information on the final expense insurance. Now, my job is real simple. I'm just the person responsible for getting the information you requested out to you. You still working or you retired? You see the difference? So our job when they answer the phone is to listen to what they say. Most people miss sales. Most people miss appointments because they don't listen when the person answers the phone. So you got to make sure you're listening. Sales is not always about talking. It's more about listening to what they're saying and even what they're not saying, which we'll talk about when we get to the in-home. Okay? All right, so everybody got that so far? Yeah. So why do we pick up the phone? Book appointments. That's it, right? That's the only purpose. Now, when you pick up the phone, they're going to try to keep you from coming to the house. That's their job. Your job is to come to the house. And you know what I like to tell people? Sometimes they get mad at me, Terry. I say, ma'am, if I don't come to your house, they're going to fire me. I got to come. I got to come. Well, baby, I don't know what to tell you. You going to be home tomorrow at 10? I'm just trying to keep my job. I'm just trying to keep my job. Okay? So here's the most common objections that most times people will get. Is the common objections that most things that we get are main three. There's subsets of these, but the main three is not interested. Another one is, already got it taken care of, okay? And then a third one is, do you have to come to the house? Can't you just mail it to me? I know everybody's trying to do virtual sales. No, I'm coming to the house. I'm handsome. I look good. That's right. Yeah, you do. I can make you feel good when I get there. You're going to enjoy spending time with me. You know what I'm saying? And this is the attitude you want to have. And I'm not saying it to be cocky, but I'm saying it to be funny. But this is the kind of confidence you have. You have a product that everybody needs. Everybody needs what you have. So it's our job to make sure we do whatever it takes to get to the house. And when you get there, you turn on the charm. All right. So when they say, I'm not interested, when they say, can't you just mail it to me? Or when they say, do you have to really come to the house, right? Those three common, there's different subsets of those, but those are the main ones. Here's what we want to do. We acknowledge what they said, we ignore what they said, and we move on. We call it AIM. Acknowledge, ignore, and move on. Let me give you an example, okay? So I'm not interested. Perfect. That makes my job easy. I'm just a person that's got to drop this off to you, and what you do with it is totally up to you. So you home at 5 or 7? No, sir, I'm not interested. No, I totally got you. I just don't want to get fired. They asked me to bring this out. So are you still over there at 1234 Main Street? Yeah. All right, perfect. And you said you'd be home at 5, or does 7 work better? 7. All right, perfect. So my name again is Marcus. I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Or, can't you just mail it to me? I would love to, but I don't fit in the mailbox. I would love to, but I don't fit in the mailbox. Is there any reason you wouldn't be home tomorrow at 5? Now watch what I'm doing, okay? Because there's a couple things I'm trying to teach it. You got to keep asking questions. Whenever they say something, they're going to make a statement to throw you off your game. Your job is to ask a question to get back to the appointment. One of the things I love to do with our group is we play the question game. I learned it from Albright. It's phenomenal. But what it does is it helps you take control of the conversation. Whoever's asking questions is in control. So our job is to continue to ask questions so that way we can stay in control, and we're trying to control getting to the home, right? So if they say, I didn't mail that in, let me make sure I got the right Miss Cheryl. You put down here Miss Cheryl, age 65? Yeah, is that right? Yeah, okay. And you're still over there at 1234 Main Street? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Miss Cheryl, either we got someone forging stuff or we got a bigger problem. So I got to bring this out so you can see it. So are you going to be there tomorrow at 10? Or any reason you wouldn't be there tomorrow at 10? So what we're really trying to do is just get Miss Cheryl off of her game, because her job is to tell you an excuse. And then if you buy the excuse, you'll let her off the phone. Here's the other key thing on the phones is you don't be the first person to hang up. Make it a game. I'm going to either book the appointment or you're going to hang up on me. They're like, son, didn't you hear? I love those old people that don't like to hang up on you. They was taught not to be rude. All right, baby, I'm hanging up now. So you're going to be home tomorrow at 10? Okay, so phones, our only job is to book the appointment. We want to know when they're going to be home. We ignore every excuse they gave us, and then we play the question game. You have more of their information on the lead than they know about, so it's easier for you to ask questions. You can ask questions about the address. You can ask questions about the age. You can ask questions if they have a spouse or significant other, right? You can ask all those questions to bring it back to keeping them engaged in the conversation so you can go to the house. All right, now we transition to the in-home. You ready? Yeah. Good, because I'm not. Let me get some water. Let's get it. All right, in-home, okay? When we do our in-home presentation, the number one goal is to create a feeling. You're trying to create a feeling and an emotion when you get to the house, because insurance is bought emotionally, but it's justified logically. I'll give you an example. You want to create the feeling of love. You want to create the feeling of connection, why they sent it in, why it's important, right? And then they justify it logically. I can afford $50 a month to take care of my family. That's how it goes most times, okay? So when you get there, one of the things I think is important, and Brant does an incredible job too, but get out the car quickly. Like, don't pull up to the house and be fumbling around and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, hurry up and get out the car. Wave at the house, because then they might think you saw them. They're more likely to open the door if they think you saw them. They can't hide behind the blinds. You with me? Okay? And then when you get there, you're at the door. Now, in Colorado, it's cold in wintertime, so one of the things that teach our agents is when you knock on the door, keep your hands visible. Don't put them in your pockets. Don't put them behind your back, because people are very untrustworthy. So if you're at the door and you got your hands in your pocket, you're already creating that doubt. Don't do this. So when you knock on the door, even if it's -22 in Colorado, I'm coming to Florida eventually. You want to keep your hands out, okay? All right, so you're at the door. Now, when they open the door, and here's what was weird when we had COVID happening, nobody wanted to touch you. They wanted to give you the elbow, they got the mask on. It's like, man, come on. Like, people need physical touch. So when you get there, guess what you do? You smile, charming like, okay? And you shake their hand. And I don't have time to teach on this, but don't try to kill their hand. You're not trying to show them that you're dominant and you're trying to like take over. Don't be the jerk, right? And then don't be the softy either. Come on, man. Shake their hand. You with me? Like a firm handshake, but not too firm and not too soft, right? And then you go into the house, and when you get into the house, pay attention. You want to pay attention to detail, pay attention to surroundings, because you're looking for things that you can connect with them on and compliment them on, okay? Because you're still trying to create the feeling. Most reason people don't buy life insurance is because they don't trust you or they don't like you. They don't trust you or they don't like you, okay? So we're trying to create trust the moment we get into the house. So now we're at the house. You want to find a kitchen table. And I know some houses are hard. They got all kind of stuff on the kitchen table. You got some houses you don't want to take your shoes off in. You know, there's those houses. But for the most part, you want to get to the kitchen table. Now, when you're at the kitchen table, if you're doing husband-wife, ladies, gentlemen, listen to me. You want to sit same-sex closest, okay? Because you don't know if they got insecurity issues. You don't know if he cheated on her. You don't know if she cheated on him. And you don't want to be sitting next to her boo. You just don't want it, okay? And then let me say this too. Guys, make sure you dress modest. So when I go into the field, it's a shirt. If it's hot outside, it's just a regular polo shirt, right, and some jeans. I don't have on a suit, right, because most of the people we serve is middle America. So you're not trying to overdo them. You don't want to show up in your three-piece with the tie on and the income ring and the watch. We don't do that. You with me? We show up because we want to be like them. So when you get there, you're trying to be relatable. I'm like you. You can trust me, okay? Now that we're like them, now you want to connect with them. And the way you do that is by asking questions. So when you get there, you're connecting with them, you're asking questions, you're making them comfortable. And I got off on a tangent, I'm sorry. And ladies, don't show too much skin. You ain't going to a club. You're going to someone's house to sell them life insurance, right? So if you're wearing a dress, let's keep it here, not here. You know what I'm saying? If you're wearing a nice little shirt, let's keep it here and not here, right? Let me just throw that out there. Because you don't want to make them not trust you. And people get weird that if you remind them of their ex, they ain't gonna buy life insurance from you. And you won't know why. So just keep it modest. All right, so you're at the house, okay? Now that you're at the house, what you wanna do is connect with them by asking questions. And here's some things I like to do because I want to create the feeling. So some of the questions that I like to ask people when I first get in the house, how'd you two meet? Because people love to tell you their story. And then one of the things I say, well, was it love at first sight or did he have to grow on you? So if I was talking to Jake and Veray, I would ask that question. And I would let either one of them answer. Typically, I like to ask the lady, right? Because for me, I had to get Carla. It didn't come this easy, so you know I can sell if you've seen Carla, okay? I'm selling her every day to stay with me. 19 years, baby. I'm doing something right, okay? So they answer that question. They start looking at each other. Now, here's the transition. I did this in the in-home presentation, so I don't have time to build that case. But one of the things I like to do is ask them questions. So we call it form: family, occupation, recreation, and then either money, like what they like to do with their finances, okay? So when you get into it, you ask those different questions. Now, here's the transition. Is I like to ask, because we're trying to figure out when we get there, why are we here? Like, what's the problem that we're here to solve? We know they sent in the form for mortgage protection or final expense, but what's the actual problem that we're trying to solve, okay? Because our job as agents is to solve problems. The better you get at solving problems, the more money you make, okay? So we got to help them identify the problem. So one of the ways I do it first is I like to tell my story. So when we get in there, you kind of go into it and you might ask the question, well, when you sent this in, why was it important to you? But before we get to that, I tell them why life insurance is important to me. So it goes kind of like this. I got it rehearsed, so I'll kind of run it by you. So the reason why life insurance is so important to me, Marvin, is because what happened to my mom about 12 years ago. She had a disease called sarcoidosis. Have you ever heard of sarcoidosis? I want to engage them. Okay. What it is, Marvin, it's an autoimmune disease where your white blood cells go crazy, and my mom's was attacking her lungs, so she had to wear this oxygen tank. She calls me on Wednesday about a bruise on her leg. My wife took her to the hospital. They looked, they said, oh, Miss Richardson, you're fine. Sent her home with some pain pills. So that night I talked to her. She said, baby, I'm not feeling good. I'm going to take this medicine and lay down. I said, okay. Didn't think anything of it. Thursday, Friday, couldn't catch her. Saturday, it's May 22nd. That's my daughter's first birthday. We're getting ready for the party, business as usual. And then my mom calls me. And she says, my uncle calls me and says, Marcus, I'm sorry. I said, for what? He said, your mom didn't wake up. That's the same reaction of the clients. Same reaction. So my daughter's first birthday, no life insurance. It was a crazy day. So we get to the funeral home, and the lady says, Marcus, do you know how this works? I said, no, ma'am. She said, we've embalmed your mom so you guys can view her, but nothing else happens until we get some form of payment. I said, okay, well, how much is it? She said, well, her cremation would be about $2,000. Her casket would be about $10,000. Now, mind you, I have 2 babies, so guess who doesn't have $2,000? I'm going to blame it on the babies, right? So I get to the funeral home, and I said, well, can I do payment arrangements? And the lady said, no, Marcus, we don't do payment arrangements. Did your mom have any life insurance, any burial policies, anything that would help? I said, no, ma'am. She said, well, until we get some form of payment, your mom will stay here with us. I said, are you serious? She said, yes. I had to put it on my credit card at 22% interest to cremate my mom. So that's why life insurance is so important to me. So help me understand why you sent this in again. Were you trying to make sure that didn't happen to your family? You see the difference? You tell that story, you pull them into your situation, and then you don't get the stuff, well, I just wanted to see prices. No, not when I tell you a story like that, you didn't. Let's get to the nitty gritty. You with me? Let's figure out why you really need this. And so I like to tell the story before I transition into why this was important to you, because stories sell, facts tell. Does that make sense? So now that we got them pulled into the story, we've done a good job at connecting with them, complimenting them. Now, you can do a good story or a bad story. Some people have those. I don't have a good story, so I just tell the story that I have. My mom died. She didn't have any life insurance. I can slow it down, but that's what we're trying to figure out, why this was important to you. Now, here's the other thing that I think is very critical. All of us are selfish by nature. Clients are the same way. When we get to the home and you ask why they sent it in, stop thinking about yourself for a minute. You want to try to find how the beneficiary is going to feel when that time comes. So we got to ask questions. I'm going to take you through this real quick on the different questions, because most times we don't ask questions that take us out of our comfort zone because we don't want to feel uncomfortable. But if you get out your comfort zone in the house and start asking these questions, you'll pick up a check more often than not. So let's go to those questions. You ready? And this is creating the emotion. Hang on, y'all. Okay. All right. Here we go. Questions. All right. Okay, so here's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out the why. You with me? So here's how we do it. So why was this important to you? That's a question you can ask. And they'll tell you something, but whatever they tell you, that's not the real reason. I promise you it's not the real reason. So if they say it's important to me because I just wanted to take care of my family to make sure that everything's taken care of, that sounds good, but it's not emotional. Don't stop there and start going through prices and quote. You haven't hit the real reason. They're trying to throw you off the scent. You want to stay there, okay? So then once they tell you that, here's the next question. So who were you trying to protect? Like, what does that look like? So you know how, here's how I do it. You know how when my mom died, I had to pay $2,000? Who would that person be for you? Who's going to be the person responsible for paying to make sure you get taken care of properly? Listen to them, okay? Next question. What do you have in place to make sure they don't have to pay the $2,000 like I did? Oh, I don't have anything. So what you're trying to figure out is if they have policies or not. Now, if they do have a policy, they got to go get it. If they have a policy, you have to have them get the policy. What I like to do is I ask where the policy's at first. I don't ask if they have a policy. I ask them where it's at. So when you pass away, where's the first place that Jake would go to grab that policy beret? Oh, he would go into the safe. So they told you they got it. Okay, I'll tell you what. Go grab that for me real quick. I'm going to use the restroom. See how I did that? Very assumptive. Go grab that. They tell you where it's at first, and then you have them go get it so they can't tell you they don't know where it's at. Because that's their excuse a lot of times too. I don't know where it's at. Yes, you do. Go get it. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. And even if you don't have to go to the bathroom, just go to the bathroom anyway. Sitting there for like 2 minutes, wash your hands, come back. Okay? And flush. Number 4. So what does it look like for the beneficiary? So we're trying to figure that out. Now, what I want you to do is don't use words like beneficiary. No, figure out the person. Get the name. What does that look like for Veray when you pass away, Jake? And then always use Veray's name. So when Jake passes away, Veray, what's that going to feel like, right? You want to keep using their name because it's creating that emotion. And they're going to be able to start seeing the person's name on the check. That makes it more real. All right, we got to keep, I'm going to lose a lot of time. All right, and then what is it going to look like if you don't have this in place? That's another big question. What does it look like for Veray, Jake, if you don't have this policy in place? Let him talk. Let her talk. Ask both people the question because you're trying to make a sale on both of them. And the other key thing is when you're asking questions, get both to respond. Because a lot of times you might lose the wife or you might lose the husband, and then that person that tells you, I want to think about it, that's the one you lost, okay? So ask questions. Let's get to the close because I think this is important. I only got a few minutes here. All right, so when you get to the close, right, here's how you do it. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. Let me say it one more time. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. So when you get to the close, show them several options. When I mean by several, 3. Don't show them 4 or 6, show them 3. A basic, preferred, and premier, okay? And you want to keep them in range of their budget. If someone's making $3,000 a month, you don't show them $300 a month policy. Don't do it. It's a chargeback waiting to happen. Okay? You want to be reasonable, right? So your basic is your low option. Your preferred is kind of like the middle option. And your premier is the higher option. Now, if you want to raise your premium, the preferred one should be a little bit higher. This is another tip, okay? So when you're in the house, you show them the options. And here's how the close goes, okay? So based on what you guys are telling me, we have a $10,000 for $50 a month. We have the $15,000 for $65 a month. And we have the $20,000 for $75 a month. Based on what you guys are telling me, which one of these works best for you and fits comfortable that you want me to help you apply for? All we're doing is helping them apply because I can't say yes or no anyway. That's the insurance company's job. Which one of these works best that you want me to help you apply for? And now, don't make the close awkward. When you go to the doctor's office, the doctor comes in, and he doesn't come in and say, how are you feeling today? Okay. Do you think you want to get undressed for me? No. The doctor comes in. He's the professional, or she's the professional. She says, okay, you're not feeling good? All right, I'll tell you what. Take this off, put that on, and I'll be right back. And you just take your clothes off. You get dressed in the gown. You don't ask any questions, and you just keep going. When you get to the close, it's the same way. Don't make it awkward. Do you want to get the $50 a month one or the $65? Don't make it weird. Take your clothes off and I'll be back. Go get your driver's license and I'll be back. So when you get there, they pick the option. You want to confirm and validate what they're doing because people's number one fear is a fear of making a mistake. So yes, I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad that fits comfortable for you guys. Go grab your driver's license and I'll help you apply for it. Make sense? Okay, so now that you've closed it down, the next thing you want to do is tell them the process. And then here's the thing, if you want to get your placement up and chargebacks down, call them. Or have your staff call them. Send them a text message. Your policy was approved. Your $80 a month is coming out in the next 2 or 3 days. We look forward to you getting your packet. If it doesn't come in the mail, please let me know. Keys to selling. So let's talk about it together real quick as we wrap up. Activity is number one thing. Okay, so you want to get leads, make a bunch of phone calls. Number 2 thing is mess up, make mistakes, don't be afraid to fail. And then when you get to the house, turn on the charm and charisma, okay, because they're going to love you. And then when you get to the close, don't make it awkward. When they pick one, it's like if the date is going good, you want to kiss the girl, you know she's feeling you, just kiss her. If she doesn't want the kiss, she'll step back, and then you go get another girl. You with me? You with me? You with me? Don't make it weird. Just kiss her and keep going. When they pick the option, kiss them and keep going. And remember, you guys, 11 years ago, I was dreaming. Keep dreaming, keep fighting, and know that there's nothing impossible and nothing you can't do if you put in the activity. This is Marcus Richardson. I appreciate you guys.